At any rate, thank you all for coming. This is now our third installment of the Fit for Life series. So we have Dawn Holmes. She's a registered dietitian. She's going to be speaking on the your daily nutritional needs. So obviously, we talk a lot about hydration and nutrition along the run, and we will go in more depth later in the season on that. Dawn's going to speak specifically towards what's really going to kind of best suit your daily needs. So what you're eating, drinking throughout your everyday life. So whether it's work, dealing with children, dealing with fleet feet folks, or whatever it is that you do during your day. So I'm going to be listening to this one because my daily nutrition is horrible. After that, we're going to go for a short run and walk, which is going to be straight across the street into the Oak Creek neighborhood. There's about a 3/4 mile loop, or I'm sorry, out and back that goes to a mile loop. Do the loop, come back. You can go around the loop as many times as you'd like. And then Dawn's going to be available for question and answer afterwards at the establishment next door, Caribbean Jerks. We'll all go over there. So we do our 20-minute clinic. We go for a short run or a walk. We're going to hold questions until we go over next door. All right. Without further ado, Dawn Holmes.
Well, thank you. This is quite the turnout, so it must be a really good run afterwards. So daily needs, and sort of a big topic because every one of you is going to be different in terms of the very specific nuances, but we'll talk about sort of big picture ideas in terms of what your needs are throughout the course of the day. So there are lots and lots of research looking at the specific amount of vitamin A you need, the specific amount of iron you need, the specific amount of calcium, magnesium, potassium, and it all depends sort of on where you are, male, female, where you are in your life stage, and there's great charts that tell us exactly how to do that. So if you went to the store and said, okay, I need 500 milligrams of potassium, and a couple milligrams of sodium, and maybe some calcium, and some magnesium, some B vitamins, you wouldn't really shop like that, right? You shop for food. And so what we're going to talk about tonight is, okay, those are all the nutrients that you need in order for your body to do all the things that you're asking it to do. But what does that look like in terms of what you're eating? So that's what we're going to look at tonight. So there are recommendations in terms of amounts of foods, types of foods that are going to cover those bases for you. And it's going to be much easier to try to get your nutrients in that way than try to focus on, I need this much X, Y, and Z of beta carotene and iron and thiamine. So, and I have these. I'm going to pass them out and we'll kind of look at it as we go. And I know you're going to be running. So you can look at it while we talk and then leave it here and then pick it up afterwards. But this is going to be sort of what we focus on this evening, and hopefully has anyone seen this picture before?
Oh, yes.
Okay. She's promoting it, yes. So it used to be the pyramid, but now it's a plate. So it's much more, I feel like, realistic in terms of, okay, what do I eat? Well, this is what my plate should look like. So this is a snapshot in terms of different food groups that are going to be essential to have during the course of the day. And you may not eat vegetables at breakfast, but you can have them at lunch and at dinner. You may not eat all of those groups all at the same time, but at some point throughout the course of the day, we need those groups and we need them in different amounts. Has anybody been to the Choose My Plate website? Yes, a couple of you. So they have a great tool called Super Tracker. You can go in, and this is what I would recommend all of you do. Go in, it'll ask your height, your weight, your age, and your activity level. So putting that information in, it will tell you for each of these food groups how much you need. And that will give you a starting point in terms of your daily needs. So it will say you need 8 ounces of grains, you need 2 cups of fruit, you need 4 cups of vegetables, you need 8 ounces of protein. You need 3 servings of dairy. You need fats and oils as well. We want to shoot for healthy ones, and you need those as well. And then there's this little bucket of extra bonus calories. And that's where you can have your drink, or that's where you can have your cookies. But we want to get the first foundational foods in to get all the essential nutrients that we need. And then there's that little bonus where you can get at the other things. So as you go to that website, the homepage, there's Super Tracker at the bottom, and then with each of these groups, come over in a second. So write in and then put it on your fridge. So grains, how many ounces of grains do I need? How many vegetables, fruits? So that you have it personalized for you and plastered someplace where you're gonna look at it. So my question initially when you go there, it's gonna always tell you need 3 dairy sources. It's always gonna tell you need probably at least 2 fruits, at least 3 vegetables, at least 6 grains, and at least 6 ounces of protein, most likely. So my question to you at this point, do you think you're doing that? Okay, great, you're at the right spot then. So we have room to work. So if we sort of start through, so let's start with vegetables because I feel like that's an area that is often challenging. And when we think about vegetables, there's all different kinds, different sort of categories of vegetables. How would you categorize vegetables? Good. Great. So if we were, sorry, that's not a great question. So we have starchy vegetables, like sweet potatoes, lima beans, corn. Corn on the cob is very popular right now, and I want you to enjoy it. So there's your vegetable. There's one of your vegetables. Then we have dark green leafy vegetables. Those are going to be fantastic sources of fiber, good sources of all of our fat-soluble vitamins, A, D, E, K. They're going to be really low in calories, but they're really going to fill you up. They're also good sources of calcium. So if you're not a big dairy person, then eat a lot of your dark greens, kale, bok choy, broccoli. You're probably going to have to eat a larger portion, like a good cup of cooked broccoli, a good cup of cooked kale. But you're going to get your calcium that way. You're going to get really good folate. So folate is helpful in terms of new cells and DNA. And you all are asking your body to do a lot of work with your activities. So you want to make sure that your cells have all the right building blocks so that when they grow, divide, develop, they're going to be doing that properly and not erroneously, which could lead to cancer. So folate, good sources of folate are foliage. So our leafy greens are good sources of folate. It's also been added to a lot of foods too, like in a box. So our dark green leafy vegetables. When you go to the Super Tracker, it will tell you, okay, I want you to shoot for this many dark green vegetables each week. And then it will say, I want you to shoot for this many red-orange vegetables. Somebody give me an example of a red-orange. Radishes. Peppers. Yes. Sweet potatoes. Tomatoes. Those are all great sources of beta-carotene. So beta-carotene is a precursor to vitamin A. It's going to help you, we think of vitamin A in terms of our vision. If you're driving at night and somebody flashes you with their brights, how quickly do you recover? And that's an indication of your vitamin A status. If you recover really quickly, then your vitamin A is probably just fine. If it takes you a while to readjust, then you probably need to boost it. So those orange and red vegetables are really good sources of vitamin A. So are our dark green ones too. Vitamin A, beta-carotene, also really good for skin health and good for bone health. So those are our red, orange. We also have other colors of vegetables like purples, like and paler colors like celery, cucumbers, and those are all beneficial too, providing lots of cancer benefits. Then we also have our starchy vegetables. Those are just delicious, right? And they're delicious. They're also really high in potassium, really great sources of fiber, and relatively low calorie if they're not fried. So So if you're doing baked potatoes or corn on the cob, those are going to be great sources of delicious vegetables. So those are, and then there's the miscellaneous vegetables where just have them throughout the course of the week. The takeaway point in terms of vegetables is when you go to Super Tracker, it will tell you the different amounts to shoot for, but really to keep it simple is to do different colors every day. So if you're doing some green and orange today, try to do some purple, some whites the next day, try to do some reds the next day, so that you're getting different ones throughout the course of the week. Just like with your training, you're not going to go out and run the exact same thing over and over and over because you won't receive any kind of benefit. You won't improve. You're eating the same thing day in and day out. You're not going to have, oh, I'm missing this particular nutrient over here because I've just been eating this. So variety is really important. If you grocery shop, it's going to be really challenging to pick up something different. But force yourself to. I got bananas last week. I got kale last week, so I'm going to get snap peas this week. Or I did zucchini last week, so I'm going to get some summer squash this week. Or some tomatoes. So doing the variety is going to be super key. And that's the same thing for fruits too. The different colors are going to be giving you different nutritional benefits. So if you're a big banana person, and I know a lot of runners are, it's super easy, great. But make sure your other fruits are different colors. Blueberries, strawberries. What are some other fruits that are unique that you really love? Watermelon, grapefruit, pears, yeah. And there's so many great fruits right now, right now because it's summer. So with fruits, you want to shoot for at least 2 at some point during the day. And those make really good snacks because they're sort of sweet or a really nice finisher at the end of the meal. So if you have that sweet tooth at the end of the meal, then grab some blueberries or grab some strawberries or even watermelon is a great finisher because it is so sweet. Grains. Whole grains are going to be the best option because more of the original plant is there. And that's the same thing with all of these food groups. The closer you get to the original plant source, the better. The less it's been altered, the more it's still going to have all of those original nutrients in it. So whole grains, oatmeal, whole wheat bread, quinoa, millet, barley, other ones that you particularly enjoy. Great. And how do you use that?
I kind of just make it like a rice, you know, and sometimes with a little bouillon and with vegetables and with it. I've not tried it sweet, but somebody said they make it, you know, kind of like too. It's sweet a little bit, but I haven't done that.
And can you say the name again so everybody can hear?
Farro, it's my new favorite brand.
Spell it.
Farro. Farro. They were selling like 2-pound bags of it at Costco, and it's really good. I've seen it at Kroger now too.
So any kind of grain that looks new or you want to try, this would be a great opportunity to do it, to expand and get out of sort of the rut that everybody kind of falls into. Protein foods. Protein foods are going to be essential as you're training to build and repair. We also use them in terms of antibodies. Our hormones are made out of protein, tons and tons of functions. The key thing with protein is to put it consistently in throughout the course of the day. So, and in terms of daily needs, 3 meals are your foundation. So breakfast, there needs to be a little bit of protein there. Lunch, some protein. Dinner, some protein. And consistently, not just I'm having a big piece of protein, like we're having steak and corn on the cob and potatoes for dinner. Okay, well, then try to keep your steak appropriate portion, which a woman's palm is about 4 ounces. And if you look at the daily guide, when you use Super Tracker, the amount of protein is probably going to seem small, but if you portion it down throughout the course of the day, you'll be satisfied, or at least begin to become satisfied with that So take where you are now and sort of cut it back a little bit. And the reason that protein is a little less is because we get a lot of saturated fat from it, and it kind of shuts out the other groups that we tend not to eat as much of. So if we reduce it a little bit and not make it the focus of the meal, but make it sort of an accompaniment. Stir fries are a great example where you can toss in a bunch of veggies, your brown rice, and then some protein. Shrimp, beef, chicken. It's a good way to get all of those together without feeling like you have 2 strips of meat and that's it. In terms of protein, the other piece that we really need to look at is our essential essential fats. So omega-3s and omega-6s. We cannot get those unless we consume them, unless we eat them. So fish, walnuts, flaxseed, those are going to be some of our best sources. And those are things to shoot for at least twice a week. So that you have those in as a part of your regular routine. If not, then your body is missing an essential piece. Those are going to be helpful in terms of reducing inflammation after runs, improving skin. And in terms of protein, we don't just have to do an animal product. It can be beans. And I would encourage and challenge you to try to do beans, black beans, lentils, edamame, 2 to 3 times a week. So you can see that we're sort of the actual like meats. We're kind of spreading it out and doing a little bit more variety. With the beans, the legumes, the edamame, you're getting a lot more fiber and really minimal fat. So it's going to feel filling and satisfying. And the same thing with the fish. Filling and satisfying, but also a lot better for your heart, a lot better for your health. So those are some general guidelines in terms of those particular food groups. The dairy piece. So as I work with a lot of runners, a lot of adults, dairy is really low for many people. And we've seen a lot more stress fractures this year. We had a long winter. Vitamin D was low. Vitamin D helps us absorb calcium. But if we aren't taking in calcium, there's nothing to absorb. The benefit of running and walking is it's a weight-bearing activity. So that's good for your bones, but if you're not putting calcium into them, there's not that extra benefit. So calcium, that can be any kind of dairy source, milk, yogurt, cheese, or it can be things that are fortified, like fortified soy milk or almond milk, orange juice can be fortified with calcium. Tofu is often fortified with calcium. And then those green vegetables that we talked about. But the goal is you need at least 3 sources of calcium throughout the course of the day. So that would be a really significant challenge to many adults to get those 3 in. Low-fat dairy is a great source of protein, a great source of calcium, potassium, magnesium. And chocolate milk afterwards is a fantastic recovery beverage. So if that's a way to get a little bit in, then I would encourage you to do that.
So chocolate milk 3 times a day is okay too?
So chocolate milk 3 times a day. If you are not as concerned about the extra calories, then that would be a great way to do it. But if it's something where that could be that little bucket that we have of those extra calories, it would be your 3 glasses of chocolate milk. So yeah, absolutely. Wouldn't that be delicious on your cereal?
It is.
Excellent, good.
So how does that soy milk, the chocolate milk, soy based, how does that fit in or compare with like regular?
Sure. So soy and cow's milk are very similar in terms of protein content and potassium, things like that. So it's a pretty good equivalent. Yeah. Almond milk is very low in protein, so it doesn't match.
Oh, it doesn't mess up really?
But the soy and the chocolate are good recovery because of their protein content. The last thing I want to talk about is healthy fats. So we need healthy fats to help our body absorb the fat-soluble vitamins from our vegetables. So as you're having salads or you're cooking vegetables, just drizzle a little olive oil, toss some nuts on there, slice up some avocado, do a low-fat dressing, not a fat-free. Otherwise, your body can't absorb those pieces. I think we've hit all the groups. You guys are ready to go run. When you come back, bring all your questions and I'll be ready.
All right. Ladies, gentlemen, we're going for the run and walk. If you want to just wander outside, we'll get started on that piece.
And I can take those with me next door if you're gonna need. Oh, okay, great.
If I go home, it'll be Saturday.
Just for the day or for the weekend?
Come back Sunday night. Beer when I come back.
And that's why I think that's a recovery. If you're running like tonight, if you're doing 20 minutes of really not moving over and out, then but that's really in terms of absorption of carbohydrates. If you just go only get through one door, but if we do like chocolate syrup, it works. Good question. That's during the vegetable section. Well, add that. It's at the top. And just wave your hand and be like, we need that. Yeah, but I couldn't count on it exclusive way for Valorant. Yeah. But it is a great thing to do.
You sweat like you're running.
Oh my goodness. I don't know how there. Oh, very nice. Vitamins won't cover it. It's a good sort of foundational piece, but the food, there are things that we need to package and extract. It's not like you're just flushing them through, but if you could just take a tablet and put it on the food piece, in terms of just overall quality of life and the quality of your body, you're going to get the best of it from eating The reason we have the chocolate is to increase the amount of carbohydrates. So people just use skim milk, although I do know that they need Yeah. In terms of that, great punch really good. I want you to have around like 10 grams. What are you drinking? Okay. So if you have for an hour and a half, but you want to have 10 to 15 so it may be that you need even more chocolate, like just something where you have to eat plus carbohydrates. And otherwise, just drink by consuming that potato, you get up to 2,200 extra calories. So then that's just extra, just the amount of where it's coming from. And then it's And I would say, I used to when they're fiber and they're delicious. And that's a really good message for children. You're just gonna miss them, right? And then maybe overeat you. It will just right, and that's what happens. We start craving them, and then it's hard. Yeah, I know that. Yes, everything else. Training increases inflation amount that you'll probably do increase a little bit, but I would go back to your dietitian and kind of fine-tune your plan, just to make sure that you're still on the weight loss trajectory, but not so low that you're not able to You're welcome, yeah. Yeah, that's okay. I would try to like do like walnuts, try to break them.
I like walnuts.
Okay. Okay.
But getting all that.
So twice a week, no way. So if it's an impossibility for you, then you can do like a dose, and I would just pecans are fantastic nuts, but they don't have to be gross. Just the walnuts or the walnuts do the flex. And with taking an omega-3 supplement, just check in with your doctor. Taking small doses is going to be good. Taking large doses is going to be one of the benefits of the blood flowing. And then you're going to one of the nutrients anything where you get that would be concerned. But then just do it.
Hey, Jeff, you mind leaving that in there because we got class in the morning anyway?
Just asking about taking multivitamin, calcium, and D all at once, or should you just take it up throughout the day?
You can take it all at once. Take it with the calcium.